Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. As you've already just seen, Mark II Mitch's meet is in 10 days, and I thought it would be a really good idea to start sanding the roof and fillering the roof and repainting the roof and getting all that ready that close to the meet. Anyway, yeah, I thought it'd be a good idea. Probably, maybe it's not an amazing idea, but as you've just seen, we've done it anyway. We've gone ahead with it. I don't know if you saw us take the windscreen out the other night or not, but we got the screen out. We got the car semi-masked up. We got all the filler work done. It's pretty good, to be fair, considering the whole roof is not exactly good anyway. I mean, there's little bits of dings and dents in it, and there's a few bits that I'm hoping I'll be able to get away with. Oh yeah, I'm hoping I'll be able to get away with just laying the paint on really thick and then doing a wet sand and buff afterwards for some of the little imperfections. But it's pretty good. It's not bad for what it is, and it's a lot better than it was. You know, you can kind of see there's a little bit of a dink there. I don't know if you can see on the camera. Right? There's a little bit of a dink there still, and there's a little bit of a dink there, and a bit of a dink there. But I mean, I can't show you inside because it's all wrapped up. But inside, the roof is like this. My assumption is that someone in a previous life, when they owned the car, has had something fall on top of it in a garage maybe, or someone's run across the top of it, or I don't know. But you know, it's quite a lot of filler in that roof. Not so much like over here. This is fine over here, but there you can hear it as I go along. So yeah, there's quite a lot of filler in there. Anyway, it's looking pretty good. I'm going to... air compressor's running. I'm going to go ahead and crack on with a wet sand, a final flat back on this with a 600 and then 1200. Well, actually, to be fair, I might not even bother with the 12 at this point. I might just 12 it afterwards. But yeah, I'm going to carry on doing a whole flat back on top of that, get it real ready for paint, and then I'm not going to paint it red. Shock horror. Don't know what you guys are going to think of it. I don't even know what I'm going to think of it at this point, but we're going to see what happens. And in worst case scenario, I'll just rub it back and paint it red. It's not the end of the world. But I am going to paint it the same colour that we did the engine bay and the engine bay and the scuttle. So we'll have a black roof. Okay, right. First coat is on. Got still a bit stinky in here, even with got the fans running. But yeah, so first coat is on. Looking pretty good. I have messed up royally right here, where I went to go in and I pulled the trigger and I went full whack on the trigger and it just went just like that, all over the front of the car. So there's a massive run hanging right on the driver's side there. But the rest of it is looking pretty good to be honest. I don't know how tacky it is yet. Pretty tacky. I've got a second load of paint sitting in the gun just spinning down. So I'm going to finish my refresher and then I should think it'll be about ready to take another coat. Yeah, it's tacky already, so about ready for another coat. Right, let's crack on. Right, well, so far, it's not too bad. The run at the front I was talking about is this horrendous thing here. However, it's covered quite well, and I think it may well be underneath the edge of the windscreen rubber, which means I might have got away with that. So it's had about, I don't know how many passes I've done, but it's had two coats basically, which is probably about, I don't know, 6 passes a coat, so about 12 passes I suppose. I mean, I make it talk like, I can't get my words out. I talk like I make it sound like I know what I'm talking about, and I've actually not got a fucking clue. I just blag the living daylights out of it when it comes to painting stuff. It's a little bit potty and pitted in places. You can still see the streaks in it from the last pass on top, but from experience with this paint, that does flatten out as it starts to dry off. But it's got a real nice shine to it. You can see the metallic in it quite nicely. So yeah, that's 2 coats, 12 passes, something like that. I'm gonna let that tack off. I let it tack off a little bit more than I usually would, I think, because it's quite thick now, although it's reasonably well tacky. I mean, I'm checking it on a lip here, so it's always going to be. It's quite tacky already. I'll probably give it now a couple of minutes, I think. I don't want to rush it and ruin it at this stage. I've got enough paint left in the can for, well, not a full coat. It's about, I don't know, it's a little bit less than a full coat. But what I'm going to do is mix it up this time quite rich with thinner, so that it's a real thin coat, and that should hopefully then give me a really nice glassy finish on the top of it, although there probably is a reasonable amount of wet sand and buff that needs to happen anyway. Camera face me. But yeah, so far I think it looks quite good. That's it. She's done. Even if I wanted to put more on, I can't, because I run out of paint. Right, I'm going to clean the guns down, let the fumes suck out the door a bit, and see you guys in a second. Right then, there we have it. So it's been about an hour since I spoke to you. I've had the fan running, shut the doors, got the temperature right up in here. Obviously it's by no means dry, but it's not far off. Like it's not transferring onto my finger anymore. Just leave a print in there, but so it's getting now. Basically, what I'm going to do is leave it for a couple of days now, 2 or 3 days to harden off. It's currently Thursday. I'll probably come back down there. I might come down on the weekend. We'll see. Either that or we'll just come down next Wednesday as we usually do. And I've got to be honest. I'm thinking I'm probably going to get away without a wet sand. There's a few spots in there that could do with it, but equally by the time I wet sanded those out, probably going to have taken too much off some other spots anyway. But what I'm thinking is I'll probably just get away with, I've got G3 and just use quite an abrasive mop to start with. If I just use start off with like an abrasive mop, three mops in, and then just work it back down to a fine polish, I reckon I'll take out most of the imperfections that I need to anyway. The metallic is still showing a few little lines. You can kind of see it as I roll over it. I don't know whether that's because of these lights, but I also don't know whether it's just because it hasn't completely settled yet. But it has got a really nice glassy shine like I wanted. Like I say, it's not perfect. You can definitely see there's bits in it, bits of dust and crap that's sitting in it. I don't know whether that's got in it whilst I've been going or whether that's probably off of the roof before I started spraying. I don't know. It's not perfect, but I mean, look at that. Look at that. Look at the whole car. The whole car's not perfect. It's better than it was with a big giant crack in the roof with a load of water just seeping under the filler and all that nonsense. So I'm fairly happy. Right, I'm gonna go and grab some beers from the shop, go home, have a shower because I'm very sticky and covered in 2K, and I will see you guys in just a second when we come back down and give it a mop, see what it looks like. Right, see you in a bit. Right, well, after one wet sand, looks pretty good. We need to hit it again with another wet sand, but you know, just a little bit. I rolled the car out so I could do it in daylight, but daylight's fading now, so got to get it back in underneath the lights in there, although you can see the light's a little bit yellow in here, hence why I went to do it in the daylight. But give you guys a show, it is looking, for anyone, this is still wet and has got water on it, that's what the lines are, but this is looking very shiny. A few imperfections in it, like I said beforehand. You know, you got like a little divot there, and there's another little divot there. So there's a few little imperfections in it, but it's coming up really nice. So I'm gonna roll it back in the car so I've got some good light, hit it with wet sand again, catch you guys in a minute, hopefully when it's looking pucker and we're ready to get the mop out. As always, I got a little bit carried away. Dean turned up, my old man turned up, and then we started chatting for a bit, and then I got completely carried away and forgot to even, I don't know. Anyway, so it's had 2 wet sands, and when I say 2 wet sands, the one wet sand you guys saw, and then a very half-assed second wet sand, because I was bored of fucking wet sanding, if I'm honest with you. So I've hit the whole of the roof with G3 and a very coarse mop. Like you can see how coarse that is. It's like a fucking sponge. You could use that to get the dead skin off your ball sack.
Well, take it home and use it in the shower.
That's it, yeah, take it home and use it as squeegee. Anyway, so that's cutting real nice and deep on there, and you can see it's, you know, starting to come up with a real nice shine. There is still some streaky marks in it a little bit. I don't know how well you can see the difference, but this corner here I've started to buff out now with this VP3 stuff that I've got, which is actually it's a lot more user friendly than the G3. To be honest, I quite like it. It's the first time I've ever used that stuff. To be fair, so it's it's getting there. I mean, there is still, you can still see some of the scratches in there a little bit. I do need to be a little bit careful at this point because I'm getting to the point where I did just see
quite thin on that front corner.
A little
tiny red.
Just here, I can see some very little bits of red that I might have just buffed all the way through. So I do need to be careful how much more I'm buffing out. But basically, like I said before, it's not going to be perfect. The whole car is not perfect. I mean, look at the dent, look at that bit of rust and everything else. But I'm actually quite happy with how it's coming out. So we're going to carry on buffing for a bit and catch you guys in a minute when it's either buffed really shiny or I've ruined it and cut straight through to the red underneath. Right, let's crack on. Now, it does smell in this garage very reminiscent of the boys in the 90s before they took their Vauxhall Nova down to Southend, doesn't it? It's exactly what it smells like after all that polish, but it looks pretty good. I'm fairly happy with it. From back here, it looks really, really good. To be fair, from quite close, looks pretty good as well, to be honest. Like I say, it's not had like a final stage mop because I haven't got one. Well, I've got one somewhere, but it's dirty and crappy and it'll probably scratch the living daylights out of it. So we kind of just buffed it with that soft mop and then we kind of finish it off by hand. But to be honest, with a little bit of spray wax or something on there now, like a little bit of wax it wet after I washed it and a white mop, that'll come up real nice. It's not perfect, but as I did just say, that's now the shiniest bit of the car. Like the rest of the car looked okay, and now we've done that, and that looks okay, and the rest of the car looks shit. Anyway,
about the gun you use as well for painting.
Well, yeah, it's up there. It's a cheap Clark gun, same gun that I used to paint everything on this car. It's a cheap.
It's like 12 quid, isn't it?
I didn't pay for it. It came free with my compressor.
With the SGS compressor.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look them up, they're about 12 quid.
So it's about 12 quid. It's a 1.5mm nozzle as well. And bear in mind, that's metallic as well. It's not just a solid colour. That's got a lot of fleck in it. And also, it was the bottom of the can, so it had more fleck in it than that bit did. But yeah, quite happy with it. It's come out really nice. I mean, obviously these lights aren't doing any favours because they're going to show absolutely everything up. But then again, I suppose so is the sunlight. But I'm going to stop making excuses for my shit painting because it actually looks alright compared to the rest of the car. We're going to, Dean's just wiped the windscreen down. We're just going to pop the screen back in, get it all back together. I've got to reconnect the throttle linkage because I was adjusting it the other day and adjusted it too far and it fell out. So get that adjusted and then, in theory, the car's good to go, ready for this weekend.
Should we show you one way of making this better?
Go.
How to make it better? Yeah, that's better. It's all blurry now.
Take your glass off, can't see the dings and dents. Anyway, right, stop rambling, let's get the screen in and crack on. Right then, screen is in. Still very, very late, obviously. But yeah, screen is in. Roof is polished. Looks semi-respectable. Let me know what you guys think of the colour on the roof. It does quite obviously. I now need to buff all this out because the colour, although it came from the same can, you can see is slightly different. But yeah, that's going to do it for tonight. Getting this video off here because it's now midnight. Oh, we fixed the bonnet catch, by the way. So hopefully that won't fly open whilst I'm doing 65, 70 down the motorway at the weekend. But there we go. Yeah, so Right, end this video off here, and next time I see you guys, we will be taking this 77 miles to
Someone in Stevenage.
Stevenage. Yeah, Stevenage, that's what I was looking for. Yeah, we'll be taking this 77 miles to Stevenage, hopefully without breaking down like we did last time. Anyway, right, like, comment, subscribe. See you next time.